Alright, hello and welcome to the video. I'm so glad you guys are here. In today's video, which is titled "The Future Comes If You Prepare or Not," I want to talk about the idea of this mentality of I can't wait that long, and the idea that no matter if you wait for it or not, your future will come, and kind of why. Over here I'll talk about why we have this quick fix, quick solution, all these, we lack the patience to really implement ideas that are very great to implement, but they take some time. And then I'm going to talk about how to overcome these ideas and what steps to implement if you want to start preparing for your future and doing it in a way where you're not so rushed and you're able to kind of have the patience to prepare. So the first thing I want to talk about is this image over here I put, where we have these two lines, and in one of the lines it represents you preparing for your future self. And this future self can be a week in the future, it can be 80 years in the future. It depends on what timeline and what you're talking about. And then we have this other line where you neglect your future self. So the idea here is that whether you decide to prepare or whether you decide to neglect it, you will at some point become your future self. So at this point, your future self becomes your current self. So as long as you live long enough, at some point you're going to hit the age of 60. And whether you prepare for it or not, you're going to hit that age. And this idea of I can't wait that long, when someone says, oh, here is how you become healthy, here is how you begin to make more money. And they say, what? That takes like 3 years. I don't have 3 years. I'm not going to do that. Well, whether you decide to or not, in 3 years, you're going to be 3 years older. So you can either be 3 years older with a healthy body and making more money, or you can be 3 years older and have done absolutely nothing. So that's the idea, that as time passes, your future self becomes your current self, whether you take actions to ensure that your future self is in a better position or not. So obviously it's better to take steps to ensure that your future self is in a better position. But what makes that so hard is that a lot of times what we consume through media and video games is very condensed. So for example, if you're watching a movie, you take this like loser and all of a sudden there's like a 3-minute montage, and then they're jacked and they're rich and everyone loves them and they get all the girls now, or whatever. So but that's not realistic. I mean, obviously, usually the things they do in that montage, they may be working out, they may be grinding on a skill, they may be working on their social skills. Whatever they're doing, usually it is correct. But the problem is it's so condensed, it gives an unrealistic expectation of the time it takes to get those types of outputs. So what a good thing to do is to see these things and to spread them out and then just do that activity, but over a longer period of time, and you'll get those same results. It will take more time. So for example, if you work out in the video game, if you work out for like 2 hours in a video game, you'll probably be absolutely jacked. But obviously if you go and do a 2-hour workout, you're not gonna get jacked. But if you decide to work out for an hour every day for 2 years, you're probably gonna get jacked, or at least like significantly more aesthetic than you are now. And so even these videos is an example of something that's very condensed. I take a lot of research and understanding that I've come across, and I try to condense it as much as I can, and there is an absolute value in that. But the problem is that sometimes you can't internalize something in a 5-minute video. But that doesn't mean it's not helpful. It just means that there's some extra steps that need to be taken for you to really internalize and get the full value out of it. So I put here, understanding does not equal internalized. And then I put here, you have understanding, and then if you take action on that understanding, then you can get proof that the understanding was correct. And then that proof helps you build internalization, where you really understand it at a deeper level. And if the understanding is correct, then every time you get this proof, and the more times you take action, for example, if I give you a video idea and I tell you, oh, it's good to get 8 hours of sleep, which obviously you can't just implement 8 hours of sleep like that, but maybe some tactics I tell you, you're able to sleep more because of it. And then you're taking action on these, and initially when you're taking action, you have doubt. You're like, oh, well, I don't know if this is gonna work, but I guess, I'll trust him. I'll trust him on this one. We'll see if he's right. Maybe he's just an idiot with a camera. But then, so you take this doubtful action, and then hopefully, if what I'm telling you is true, which most of the time it will be, but I will be wrong sometimes, but hopefully not very often, but you'll get proof. And then with that proof, you'll internalize the idea, and then as you repeat it more and more, it'll become part of your subconscious, and you won't even have to think about it anymore. So that's how understanding, or things like these videos, I can give you an understanding of something. What I can't do for you is get you to take action and build proof and build an understanding yourself. So that's what I'm hoping you can do with these videos, is take these ideas, maybe after the video, think about them for a little bit, think about how you can implement them in your life, and through that implementation, get these results that is going to prove to you that what I was saying is right, at least in most circumstances. And here's why it's so important, is that I looked it up right before this video just to get the exact percentage, but right now scientists are saying that the subconscious mind controls 95% of our life, which is absolutely absurd. So something like an understanding, like I can tell you, instant gratification is worse than delayed gratification. Usually delayed gratification is better. And you can say, yeah, that makes sense. I understand that. But just because you understand it, these 95% of your decisions that are subconscious, your subconscious maybe hasn't internalized it to the point that you will do those things without thinking. That's why you need to build the proof and build the understanding by repetition and action, so that when you're faced with decisions that are subconscious, you do them without having to think about it. Because if you don't, then 95% of your decisions and actions are still just whatever you're impulsively doing. And in the self-improvement community and such, they call it the lizard brain, which I don't know exactly why it's called lizard brain, but just generally animalistic nature that we have, and that we need to fight against this natural tendencies, because we have a lot of natural tendencies that are incorrect. For example, one of them is when it gets colder in the wintertime, let me grab that. But as it gets colder in the wintertime, our body senses the temperature, senses it's winter, and it's like, okay, we need to eat as much as we can so that we can stock up fat, and when it gets harder to hunt in the winter, we can have the nutrition so that we don't starve. And obviously, you think to yourself, you have an understanding that we're not gonna starve. It being winter doesn't make it harder. We're not hunting and gathering anymore. I can just go to the grocery store. What I do for money isn't gonna change depending on the year. So no, I don't need to stock up fat because it's wintertime. But what happens is you have to fight against your natural tendencies because of that. And by building these intuitive understandings, that can help you do so. So one other thing I want to talk about is an example from my life, where just because I understand something and I've read on it and I thought I knew it intuitively, I still make mistakes. And this idea of self-improvement, it's a constant process where you're always gonna make less mistakes less often, but you're still gonna make mistakes, and you need to learn from them and continue reminding yourself. It's just like any other skill. If I were to practice hitting a baseball 100 times and I stopped for 4 years, I'm not gonna be able to do it anymore. You have to continuously practice things. So the example is that a long time ago, or not that long, but I've read a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People 3 times, put a bunch of notes on it, my favorite book. One of them is don't criticize. That's one of the things they talk about, is not criticizing. And if you want to work with people, you can't just get upset. And I had this test, and bear with me, it's a little embarrassing, but if you stayed this long in the video, I know you're one of the real ones, so this is why you get the behind the scenes stuff. But basically in a test, I got 3 points marked off because I didn't explain why I used a certain formula. And I got upset because the question didn't ask me to explain. I was like, I got the right answer, I should be getting full points. So I emailed the TA and I was like, look, where did you say, you didn't say that we were supposed to use the formula, or explain ourselves, why am I getting marked off points? And then they responded with, I think what you meant to say was, hello so-and-so, I have a question about blah blah blah, because I wasn't as formal and nice as I should have been, and I realized that, and I thought to myself, I was like, I'm an idiot. Like, all these things I've read, and I still like make mistakes like this. So I apologized. I said, sorry, look, like, I didn't mean to come off rude. I was obviously a little hurt and upset with the points, but I'm sorry I came out too frustrated. And I apologized and told them that they really are, the two of them are amazing TAs. Usually you get these people that are kind of monotone and don't put much effort in, but they were two really exceptional TAs, and that's why I apologized and made sure they know that. But I kind of took that lesson to heart, as even when we think we know things, a lot of times we're going to continuously make mistakes on them, and just to take this self-improvement thing not as like a thing you're going to do and then be done with, but just continuously preparing for your future self. And I really hope you can bear with me, and if you want to, you can subscribe below, and I'll be with you on that journey. I will continue posting this content that will hopefully be a benefit to you, as a lot of the reason I'm doing it is to refresh myself on these ideas as well. So that's the general idea of the video. I hope you got something from it, and we'll start preparing for your future self. I'll make more videos about how specifically to do that, like, for example, creating a retirement fund, or investing money, or exercising, or increasing your sleep, or what things to buy that'll help you improve whatever, blah blah blah. Like that's more specifics, but just this video it's all about the idea that you should, and why that may be hard, and so on. So thank you for watching. If you watch this far, like, I really appreciate it, because I know they're kind of long videos, and they're not as condensed and as attention grabbing as some other videos. So I really appreciate that you can stick through it, and I think that's a really good step towards having the patience to work on these activities. But if you watch this long, I really appreciate you, and thank you for that. So hope you enjoyed.